Welcome to ASTR, a program bringing together the Adventist Church's past and present in order to inspire for the future. This video magazine is brought to you by the Office of Archives, Statistics and Research at the Seventh-day Adventist Church's world headquarters. There is so much to share from Adventist history and from the Adventist present, and each episode we will be selecting moving stories from the past and the most interesting facts about the church today. We hope that you are interested, intrigued, and inspired to contribute to the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. In this episode, we explore what happened this week in Adventist history, then share one of the many exciting and moving mission stories found in the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists, before sharing some data about Adventist hospitals.
Charles M. Snow was born on January 26, 1868. In 1885, Snow went to Massachusetts to attend South Lancaster Academy, paying for his schooling by teaching stenography, doing the work of private secretary for the principals during the school year, and working as a stenographer during vacations. Upon completing his schoolwork in 1891, he accepted the role of private secretary to the president of the California Conference. Several years later, Snow was appointed to supervise the typewriting department at Pacific Press Publishing Association in Oakland. By 1902, he became the assistant editor for the Signs of the Times periodical, a position he held until 1906. The last Signs of the Times periodical bearing Snow's name was dated 3 days before the Pacific Press building was totally destroyed by fire. Also in 1906, he was appointed as the editor of the Advent Review and Sabbath Herald. In mid-1908, Snow transitioned from the Review and Herald office to be the associate editor of the Liberty periodical founded in 1906. The theme of the article had become of great interest to him, as a regular portion of the periodical's pages were devoted to temperance topics, including contentious subjects such as laws for the prohibition of alcohol. Snow's interest in temperance began in his teenage years, and now he continued to contribute to this debate as an author and editor. Snow became Liberty Magazine's chief editor in 1909, though he stepped down to associate director in the mid-1912 in order to research for his book. This book, titled Religious Liberty in America, was published in 1914. Following a request to be the editor of the Australian versions of the Signs of the Time and Life and Health periodicals from the Australasian Union Conference, Snow and his family sailed to Australia in 1915. He will serve as editor and pastor in Australia for 18 years. During those years, he published another book titled On the Throne of Sin. Snow passed away in 1933. His obituary in the Australasian records carried the lyrics of his own hymn titled Going Home. To read more on the life of Charles M. Snow, please visit the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists online at encyclopedia.adventist.org. This has been a look at this week in Adventist history.
I trust you have already heard about the online Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists, known as ESDA, which was launched in July 2020. But have you read any of the inspiring ESDA stories at encyclopedia.adventist.org? ESDA has 4,000 articles and 11,000 images and continues to grow. With me now is Dr. Dragoslava Santrac, who works with me as managing editor of the ESDA. She and I are going to share one story from the encyclopedia.
David, I am happy this is just the first of the many ESDA stories that we will share in the upcoming episodes, because there are so many excellent stories of Adventism that people should know and be inspired by. Today's story is about Emil Frauchiger, a pioneer, colporteur, pastor, missionary, and administrator in Europe and the Middle East for 44 years. Frauchiger played a crucial role in the early years of Adventist mission work in Switzerland and Germany, and later was a major force in establishing and strengthening churches in the Middle Eastern regions under his leadership.
Emil Eduard Frauchiger was born December 17, 1865, to Christian and Rosina Frauchiger in Lausanne, Switzerland. Emil attended art school in Lausanne and at the age of 18 became a sculptor. However, he always felt drawn to church ministry and served as a Sunday school teacher for a year in the Methodist church where his mother attended. During this time, the Methodist pastor noticed Emil's deep love for God and God's Word, and so he started training Emil to become a Methodist minister. As part of his ministerial training, Emil began serving the congregations of Vevey and Morges on Sundays.
Providentially, God was preparing Emil for a new grand chapter that would soon open in his life. In January of 1886, a series of lectures were held in Lausanne by Seventh-day Adventists Jacob Erzberg, Ludwig Conradi, and Ellen G. White, who had recently come from America. The lectures focused on the prophetic books of Daniel and the Revelation, which were otherwise rarely studied by other churches. The nearness of Christ's return was at the forefront of all themes. Emil Frauchiger and his mother Rosina, together with 23 other Methodists, joined the new Adventist movement. They were all baptized May 15, 1886, by Ludwig Conradi. The group formed a nucleus from which the Adventist work further expanded in Switzerland and beyond.
Thank you, Slava. This was indeed a grand opening of a new chapter in Frauchiger's life. From there, he went to Basel with Conradi and trained as a colporteur and Bible worker. He and Gerhard Perk worked together as the first Adventist colporteurs in Switzerland. During Emil's work at Basel, Frauchiger again met with Ellen G. White, who had her main residence in Basel during her 2-year stay in Europe from 1885 to 1887. This acquaintance was especially beneficial for Emil, who together with Perk went to start colporteur work in Germany in 1888, most probably in Stuttgart. The next year, Frauchiger joined Conradi in Hamburg, where the headquarters of the budding Adventist mission in Germany was established. In 1893, Frauchiger was ordained as a pastor. After his ordination and as one of the Adventist pioneer workers, he continued working in southern Germany from 1894 to 1903. During this time, he also pioneered Adventist mission work in the Rhineland-Palatinate region in Germany. Later, he went to Berlin and worked there from 1903 to 1908 as president of the East German Conference, and then as an evangelist in Wawinkel from 1908 to 1909, during which time he served as president of the Rhenish-Prussian Conference.
Isn't it incredible how in God's providence a Methodist pastor in training became a dedicated Adventist church leader? It is important to know that Frauchiger did not labor alone. God blessed him with a loving partner in life and ministry, his wife, Marie Borl. They were married on September 2nd, 1890, after a courtship mostly by letter that lasted 4 years. On the screen is my favorite photograph of Emil and Marie, taken while they were eating bananas and obviously not posing for the picture. After serving in Switzerland and Germany for about 23 years, Frauchiger felt God's calling to become a missionary in Turkey. Together with 7 of their children, the Frauchigers arrived in Turkey in 1909, where Emil took over the leadership of the Turkish mission and the next year of the Levant Union mission, which included Greece and Crete, the Turkish Empire, Egypt, Sudan, Persia, and Abyssinia, a vast territory with a very small Adventist presence. There, he supervised the organization of 4 churches. In the photograph here, Frauchiger baptizes a new convert in the Bosphorus near Istanbul, then known as Constantinople, around 1914. Another significant step was publishing a tract with the theme, "Who is Jesus?" That tract was the first to be published by a Christian organization in that region. Frauchiger and a few Adventist workers labored in challenging circumstances, facing imprisonment and continual persecution.
Nevertheless, they did mission work with untiring devotion. The fellowship among the believers was strong, as seen in this photograph. In 1911, together with another German missionary leader, Walter Ising, Frauchiger held the first Adventist evangelistic meetings in Haifa, in today's Israel. It was also in Haifa where they planned a Bible Workers Institute for those in that region. Moreover, Frauchiger constantly visited Bulgaria, Albania, and Palestine to hold evangelistic series. This photo shows the first evangelistic tent pitched in Turkey with government permission in 1914. Frauchiger is the person in the white suit, while on the far right is Aimé Giroux, a missionary dentist and preacher with his wife and their 3 children. In addition to holding evangelistic meetings, Frauchiger established a training school in Constantinople and held lectures for Armenians and Greeks. The training school served as a missionary training venue for workers in Turkey. Here you can see the Adventist workers in Constantinople, including the key local people Diamondola Kianides and Diran Chakrian. 3 languages, Turkish, Armenian, and Greek, were taught to those preparing for mission among the inhabitants of the then Levant Union Mission. During the First World War, Frauchiger continued to oversee the work in the Levant field, even though communications and movement became extremely difficult. He made great efforts to assist persecuted Armenian Adventists who were in great danger. Slava, what was his next destination?
Emil Frauchiger's next place of service was another field in the great need of committed workers. From 1917 to 1923, he served as president of the newly organized Czechoslovakian Union Conference. The means were so scarce that workers hardly had money for food. To survive, Frauchiger began canvassing and eventually managed to establish a printing house to sell Adventist literature. However, soon he was burned out. Decades of hard work and sacrifice had taken a severe toll on his health. As a result, he decided to return to his home country, Switzerland. From 1924 onwards, he worked as a pastor in the German-Swiss Conference and retired a few years later in 1930. After his retirement, however, Frauchiger continued to play a role in ministry, including documenting the beginnings of Adventism in Switzerland and Germany in the official church magazine Advent Echo.
I think documenting history is a wonderful way to spend time in retirement. Emil Frauchiger died on January 8, 1947 in Lucerne, Switzerland. He was 82 years old. He spent 44 years of dedicated labor as one of the pioneer workers in Europe and the Middle East, and his legacy can still be discerned in many of the countries where he worked. Read the entire articles about Emil Frauchiger and others in the Encyclopedia of Seventh-day Adventists at encyclopedia.adventist.org.
Have you ever wanted to read historic past issues of the Signs of the Times or the Review, but didn't know how you could do that? Well, take a look at ASTR's online archives, which holds not only historic issues of the Signs of the Times and the Review, but also historic issues of Union Conference periodicals, books, and minutes. Visit the online archives at documents.adventistarchives.org.
The Adventist Yearbook is more than just a directory of organizations and institutions with denominational status. While the contact information is an important aspect of all the entities included within, the yearbook includes, in a clear and detailed style, all the levels of the Seventh-day Adventist Church organization, along with the ministries and services that organizational units offer in its territory, as well as a detailed list of all the institutions around the world that provide a service to members and non-members. Moreover, the yearbook provides a legal standpoint to institutions globally affirming their denominational status. The largest group of institutions that benefit particularly of this is the NAD Healthcare Corporations, for which the information is directly handled at the General Conference. The NAD Healthcare Corporations are the largest healthcare sector within the church organization, grouped in Advent Health, comprised of 40 hospitals distributed within the Lake, Mid-America, Southern, and Southwestern Unions. Adventist Health, with 17 hospitals in the North Pacific and Pacific Unions. Adventist Healthcare, with 4 hospitals in the Columbia Union. Kettering Health, with 5 hospitals and 1 college in the Columbia Union as well. And the Adventist Healthcare Retirement Plan. They all depend on the accuracy of the information in the Adventist Yearbook for their tax-exempt status in the United States of America. The Adventist Yearbook is more than just a source of information. From addresses and telephone numbers to websites and social media, but the foundation where all entities under the church's denominational umbrella stand. Find more information on the Adventist Yearbook at www.adventistyearbook.org.
The Research and Evaluation Team provides research findings on many different topics via research newsletters, blogs, social media, and publications. Visit us at www.adventistresearch.info to learn more and to find out how to get involved in Adventist research.
We hope you've learned from this episode and been challenged about being part of the mission of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Thanks for watching ASTR, the video magazine that brings together the Adventist Church's past and present in order to inspire for the future. Please join us again for our next episode.